Good evening, everybody. Driver's meeting is going to start in about 2 minutes here. You can go ahead and finish up your laps, and then just park it or
Good evening, everybody, and happy to be back here on the broadcast booth with the Champion Motorsports channel here on Twitch. This is David Anderson. I'll be joined shortly here by Ryan Thompson, my colleague, as Ryan and I are super excited to bring you all another race tonight. It's going to be the season finale of the iRacing 2023 Season 1 Champion Motorsports GT3 Sprint Series. That's a mouthful, but this is a series, a private league hosted by our community Champion Motorsports at cmsracing.com. We've had a phenomenal season to date, and it's going to end on fire as we have got, it looks like 45 or 46 drivers here in the season finale. A few things came on air a little bit before qualifying tonight because we want to just kind of tee up a couple of things for you all that are watching to give everyone kind of a good idea of some of the various stories that we're going to be following and whatnot in the race tonight. So really, the key thing to touch upon is we've got championships that are undecided in both our pro and our amateur classes. And so I want to cover those before we get into the qualifying tonight. We'll start with our amateur class, which are all the drivers that you'll see tonight in the race with 200 numbers. So coming into the race tonight, we've got a clear favorite holding a 16-point lead. That's Stephen Yanni. Stephen has had a phenomenal season. He'll be driving tonight, going for his fourth win of the season in, I believe, what has been a 9-race season, 8 or 9 race. See if I can figure that out. Yeah, about 9 or 10 races actually. That Stephen has been able to win 3 of them already. He is followed by Nick Kuhn. Nick coming off of a big win last race, looking to make it 2 in a row. Nick about 16 points behind. Nick, a former champion in this amateur class in CMS from a season or 2 ago, so definitely not going to go down without a fight. He'll need to get a little lucky tonight, not only have a great race, but he'll need Stephen likely to have some trouble and finish behind him. So those are our top 2 that are really going to be battling for the championship in GT3 AM. Just rounding out the top 5, we've got a tie for what would be third place. Ernesto Diaz and Shane Norton both come in tonight with 156 points. Shane does have a win, so that would be the tiebreaker amongst those two if we had to do a read back. And John Thompson just behind him in 5th. And then, a lot of drivers, Larry Ford in 6th, and then all the way back, we've got 49, different drivers that have competed in a race, battling for a lot of point positions. So that's kind of the story in the AM class. As we move over to pro, as we get ready to start qualifying here, Michael Parker is our leader in the pro division. And Michael has just been the picture of consistency. That's the best way to describe it. He has run up front, has not pulled off a win yet in this series, but he's run up front every week, has 274 points, an 11-point lead over Miguel Colon. Miguel has had 3 wins, but his inconsistency has been what has kept him behind Michael. He's had races at Mosport and Spa where he had DNFs, whereas Michael has been up contending for the podium in every race. The other key thing to note about Michael is he's coming into Daytona with a tremendous amount of momentum, as he just won the Porsche Cup Series race here at CMS just a few days ago in the Porsche Cup Series. So really, really cool to see that battle between those two, as you're seeing some cars here now start to get out on track and begin qualifying laps. So those are the top two in the GT3 Pro category. Chris Brunnemer is the third place position. He actually also comes in with a lot of momentum, having won the last race at Watkins Glen. He also won the first race of the season at Spa. So Chris, it's going to need a lot of help to get around Michael, but definitely anything's possible. He's about 22, 23 points behind Michael, but only 12 points behind Miguel. So fourth place is JT Tammy, and fifth place is Brett Stevens. So, and JT and Brett are separated by only 1 point. So just a really, really good battle there. We've also got some newcomers tonight. So that's the other fun thing about the series, is that we've attracted folks throughout the season who have really continued to add new energy to the series. So that's exciting to be able to have that type of situation going on as well. So we're actually riding with our points leader right now. This is Michael Parker, who we're with in his Lamborghini. And we're going to stick with Michael here for a little bit during qualifying, as he's about to turn his first hot lap. He's on that right now. May actually be on an out lap still. I'll start to kind of pay attention here and see if anyone gets a lap on the board before him. But ride along with Michael, maybe even get in the car here with him, and we'll see what he's able to do. He's the driver that all the attention's on tonight, leading the points. We've got another huge field tonight. So some of the competition in this series, for him to be in the position he's in, has just been top-notch. There's just really no other way to put it. So seeing what he will do will be phenomenal. And I think I might be joined by Ryan. Ryan, is that you? I heard shuffling around in here into the booth.
That was my cat smacking my microphone, but yes.
Well, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. Riding along here with Michael Parker as he's going to start his first time lap here. And I've been talking a lot about him tonight because he's the man coming into this thing with the points lead over all these other fanatical drivers.
Yeah, as always, very smooth delivery around these corners from him. Just always good to watch.
Absolutely. No, this guy never misses an apex. He just never does. Uses every bit of the track. You can see just very minimal movement on the wheel. And when he does move it, it's super intentional, very smooth. We've talked about Michael before. Michael is a national champion with Sports Car Club of America in their solo program. So has a lot of real-world motorsports experience. He dons the number 23, which is one of his idols is Lewis Hamilton. Lewis not a whole lot older than Michael, or Michael not a whole lot older than Lewis, I should say. They're about the same age guy. And Michael, it's great to see folks like Michael get into racing and have that influence, from an idol perspective and an ethnic, a similar ethnic background as well. So we're going to see what Michael can do to put on the board. He's not the first one with a lap in. It looks like we've got some laps starting to fly in here now. Right now, Richard McClure is our provisional pole sitter. Richard has a 144.115, so we'll have to see what Michael can do here as we ride along with this car. And he goes all the way up to the pole, so there we go. So we were talking about him for a reason, folks. This guy can definitely find his way around Daytona. So we'll leave Michael to finish his next lap, and let's get on board here with Scott Kessel. This is Scott that we're riding along with. The reason I'm here on this Porsche is because Scott currently on the pole position with 1 lap in the books for the AM class. So, Ryan, that's what I love about this. We got races all over the track.
We do, and championship battles all the way down the order.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I talked about the top 5 while you were wrapping up the drivers' meeting, and the top 5 in each class. And but there are, especially in the AM class, many battles for positions. And these guys, whether you're racing for 25th position in the points or first, that's what we love about this is the competition and the camaraderie is super strong, right?
Yeah, and as much as they'll tear it up on track after the race, most of them are going to be in the voice chat on our Discord, talking about their fun moments, and it's really great to see that we have that type of community where we can be super competitive on track and then friends off track. It's
Absolutely. And, as we say that, it looks like we were riding along with Scott Kessel there, and he came in hot on a lap, finished the lap, and moved himself up to the pole. So that is incredible. This is the second time this year this has happened. We're back on with Michael Parker now, and he's not able to best his lap. So I'll start to kind of just pay attention to some of the drivers that are still finishing laps. Here's Claude Belval's out. There's a few other drivers still getting laps in. But second time this year that we have had a AM car on the overall pole. And the first, assuming that holds, the first race at Spa we had that where one of the amateur drivers was on pole. So some of these guys in their own right can lay it down. And right as I say that, Victor Tanaka comes and knocks him off. So Victor Tanaka's now moved up to the pole. Scott Kessel in second, Michael Parker third. And some of the other drivers continuing to finish their laps here. We've got Robbie, and I'm camera jinx here for Robbie Prescott. Looks like he's going to go around, currently in 5th position. Stephen Yanni is a driver that was still driving. Here's John Taylor Tammy in our favorite car, Ryan.
Yes, indeed.
Thing just looks different, sounds different. It is different.
Definitely drives different.
Definitely so. I always like to get on board with this car. This looks to me like it is a hot lap, so JT currently sitting in 26th position. One of the last drivers out doing time. And we've got 36 drivers so far with a time. We have about more than 10 without a time. That means they've either picked up an incident somewhere along the way or had trouble. One of those drivers that's worth noting is Miguel Colon. Miguel Colon without a time on the board right now. Ryan, I don't know if you know what's going on there, but that's not a good sign for Miguel and his championship hopes tonight.
No, he reported not technical issues, but I guess technical issues. He had to reset some things.
And here he is now, so maybe this is his lap. So I moved away from JT Tammy. JT is in 24th position. This is Miguel going. He's got about a minute to get this lap in here, which I think he'll get this. It's going to be tight for him to post a time here. So right now, no time on the board. All of our eyes are here because this is huge. Miguel's in second position in the points. He's had 3 wins this year already, but he cannot win the championship. I'm just confident he can't win the championship starting back in 40th position, Ryan.
That would be a tall order.
Yeah. So he's going to need to get this, dealing with some technical issues, which you deal with in sim racing or just like the real world, things happen. And but it looks like he will get a lap in. Let's see what he can post here. Okay, there we go. It's what he needed. That's what he needed. He got up into 5th position there. So huge for him to be able to get that done.
Definitely. I'm going to just leave you for a moment, David, but I'll return. I just have to talk to the drivers again.
Sounds good, Ryan. Talk to you here in a minute. While Ryan's away, a couple of things I want to say before we get started. So this is a really, really big week here at Champion Motorsports because this officially kicks off the week, even though this is the end of the GT3 Sprint Series for the Season 1. We are going to have a Season 2, which is going to be starting up soon. Details have already been shared preliminarily on the Discord, and so we will continue to run these GT3 cars on Wednesday nights. So we hope everybody will be back to run with us on Wednesdays. But in addition to that, we are kicking off the week for iRacing Team Endurance Series, or iRTES for short, which you can see in our branding here on the stream overlay. That is our iRacing Team Endurance Series. It's at Daytona. For the first week and first race of the season. That is this Sunday morning in the U.S., or I should say afternoon Eastern Time. It starts at green flag is at noon Eastern Time, 1700 GMT, and it's a 3-hour race, the first of an 6 or 8 race schedule. Can't remember exactly off the top of my head. I don't have the schedule in front of me. Races are about once a month. And each time that we race an iRTES track like Daytona, the previous Wednesday, this GT3 Sprint Series will also run at the same track. And in addition to that, our official support series for the iRTES series, which is our single make fixed series we call Porsche Cup, will be running as well the previous Sunday before the big race. So it's really, really cool. We have a full field already signed up for iRTES, but we are taking a little bit of oversubscription, if you will. We want everybody that's interested to have the opportunity to race, and so for this week only, as we lead up to the race, we're going to have opportunity for 2 or 3 more spots to sign up in each of the 3 classes. Now, whereas what we're dealing with here tonight is a single series. With just GT3 cars, the iRTES series is a true driver swap endurance series with 3 classes. It's loosely based on the WEC World Endurance Cup from FIA, and we will have LMDH, Prototype 2, and GT3 cars all on the track together. So take a look at it at cmsracing.com. And then last but not least, I want to thank our sponsor, simracing247.com, for their support here of the GT3 Sprint Series as we get ready to take the green flag, Victor Tanaka. So, Ryan, this is going to be crazy going into turn 1 here.
It's going to be.
Here goes the pace car off. Huge field tonight.
I don't know if you covered it while I was away, but one Christian Brunemer didn't manage to set a qualifying lap.
I missed that. And that's going to hurt Chris. Chris is 3rd in the points tonight. That's going to be a tall order for him. Really clean start here. Looks like we might have a car off, though. Little busy back here.
Oh, and 2 cars coming together. Couldn't see one of the Can-Am cars, I think.
Yeah, I'm going to let them all kind of get through the first couple of corners and just kind of see our leaders here. Michael Parker's gone into 2nd position, but we'll definitely go back and pick these up. Fairly uneventful up front. But a little bit more action in the back, as you talked about. Victor Tanaka has broken away here, at least to begin, with a pulling out over Michael Parker. All right, so we've got a few things that have happened, Ryan, that I think are probably worth going back and seeing if we can see what happened. Let's watch. Here's Looks like maybe Mike Tyler was involved in something. Although I don't see the issue here. Like Michael Farrell may have been involved in something as well. Yeah, here it is there. Several cars around in the International Horseshoe, or the second horseshoe, I should say. Just trying to fit too many cars through there at one time on the first lap. You gotta know better than that, guys. You know. And you can see a car slowly moving away from all that action. Meanwhile, up front, they've already kind of separated themselves a little bit. There's a 4-car breakaway. We ride here with Miguel Colon and Scott Kessel. Scott, the lead AM driver, just behind Miguel in the Porsche. So, wow. You know, Ryan, I don't know that we've talked much about Scott Kessel this year. Is this his first race of the season? And I apologize if it's not to Scott, but it's a new name to me.
Well, we certainly haven't seen him running up at the front. I think you're right. Let me just confirm that before before we make too many claims here. But
yeah, he's giving Miguel Colon all he can handle here for P3.
He did race with us at Road America. That was his first race, I believe.
Okay. Well, definitely showing that he's somebody worth talking about here. He was fast in qualifying and fast here, running up front with the leaders.
Yeah, anybody that's got the pace to qualify right up at the front with this field that we've had all season would be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. It's like Danny LePage had an issue here. You can see him off. So a few drivers. I'm actually showing Victor Tanaka with an issue, and I don't know where I missed that, Ryan, but let me go back here. Here's Victor. I think he may have lost it here in the... He sure did! Oh, man.
Oh, wow, that's a tough hit.
Yeah, that was from the lead of the race, and we were talking about Scott Kessel, and we missed this on, which thank goodness for replay. We missed this with Victor Tanaka. I've got to think he's coming to the pits.
I'm surprised he was able to get it going again after that.
Yeah, you and me both. Did not bring it to the pits. But definitely had an issue. And, you talked as well about Chris Brunnemer. Looks like Chris Brunnemer was in an accident here with Anthony James. So that's another issue. Let's go back here and watch what happened to Anthony. You're going to see him in the Dunkin' Donuts car. And Anthony comes around here. It's slippery there. This is the second issue we've seen in the international, not the international horseshoe, but the second horseshoe. Anthony just lost it and collected a couple of cars there. So track is definitely slick. I think this track is going to get dark here tonight, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan.
Yes, it will. We're at sunset right now, and that's the way we wanted it.
So this has played right into the hands of the man of the hour here, Michael Parker and Miguel Colon. These are our two championship leaders in first and second position here. As we ride on the track now, we'll ride from the view of Miguel But this isn't going to cut it for Miguel. Miguel needs not only to probably win this race, or at a bare minimum finish ahead of Michael, but he needs to finish probably 4 or 5, 6 positions ahead of him, I would think, to be able to take the championship, because Michael has, a decent enough cushion that it's going to require Michael having some sort of, issue, I think.
Yeah, Tim had just a rough back of the napkin prediction that as long as Michael Parker finishes within about the top 10, he's probably got it.
Yeah, no matter what anybody does, right?
Right. But that was just a rough prediction, I think.
Yeah, and as we talk about this, it looks like maybe Claude Belval has had an issue. Let's see what happens here to Claude going into turn 1. Oh, no! There's a little bit of contact there, and around she goes. Doesn't look like there's too much damage here, though, Ryan.
Yeah, I'll just be giving up a lot of spots this early in the race.
Yeah, showing him in 35th position right now after that, so... But he does not seem to be damaged, so all that's hurt there is his ego, and got into it with one of the ghost cars. Still a long way to go in this one tonight, over an hour in this race. So there will be plenty to plenty of time for him to get, and Claude's pretty talented. I could see him working his way back up here, throughout the course of the event.
Yep, just one of those situations where you gotta just take whatever, adrenaline, anxiety you had from that incident and just set it aside and start running consistent laps again. The red mist, as we like to call it.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, let's take a quick kind of fly here through the top 10 overall. Then we'll talk about a few of the things going on in various classes and whatnot. So 10th position is JT Tammy. JT up off to a really good start in the Ford GT3. I may be the only Ford GT3 in the field. He's been a bit of a privateer. There have been a few other Ford entries for sure in the series, but JT already up 15 spots, Ryan. So this is a guy where, we've had some guys with issues early. JT has certainly capitalized on that. And he's right up there in it. Just ahead of him in the Audi is the Dog Bear car of Daniel Howard. So we ride along here with Daniel. And Daniel off to a solid, podium-level drive here in the AM class. So Daniel off to a good start, running up front with a lot of the guys. Edward Nelson just ahead of him. Edward's been a driver that we've talked quite a bit about this season in the AM class. Had a really, really strong run at Mosport, and that was nice to see him do so well there. So he's backed that up. And just ahead of him is Mark Nister and Mark Johnson. This is actually a battle for position, Ryan, right here between these two guys, the Porsche and the BMW. And Mark looking to pass Mark, and they both spell their name the same way. So this is 6th and 7th position. The Porsche of Mark Nister leading and Mark Johnson sends it down in there. He might go for 2 cars here. These are all positions right here that are up for battle as Mark Johnson moves into the 5th position. Just ahead of him now, he sets his sights on Kevin Ayers, and I believe that's Robbie Prescott, if I'm not mistaken, that he's after now. So really, really strong battle here in the what really is the top 5 here for these drivers. Kevin Ayers just ahead of them. Kevin in the Lamborghini. Kevin's run a lot of laps at Daytona this month, or I should say the last couple of months. I know he was in the 24 hours. And I've said this before, Ryan. I think Kevin might be one of the most improved drivers year over year, season over season here at CMS. He certainly was, and this is no disservice to him. In fact, it's a compliment, but he wasn't running for top 5s and top 10s overall this time a year ago. So he's done something to really step his game up.
Yeah, he's been really consistent as well, which is part of the success formula for sure.
Yeah. I do have to report here before we go back up front. It looks like we've had a bad situation here. Tim Collier has, unfortunately, looks like maybe just suffered a DNF. And that was a bad accident. I'm wondering if he maybe got disqualified, Ryan.
He may have.
Yeah, let's go back and watch this again. And I'm going to slow this down. Let's watch what happened here with Tim. It looks like he gets 2 wheels on the grass. And it's really slow on him.
Yeah, you don't want to be looking the wrong way.
Yeah, and then he starts driving backwards on the track. While this was happening, there was another issue with Larry Ford, really in the same spot. Larry had a similar accident.
That looks like a carbon copy.
It does. A similar accident. I don't think these two were related. And then Larry pulls back on the track.
To the young children in the audience, carbon copies are what we used to call screenshots.
Exactly. And, Ryan, I'm thinking what's happened is they went far enough in that they may have both gotten a... It looks like Larry is still running. I'm showing him still out on the track, but Tim Collier, unfortunately, is retired from the race. So there is no Tim on the track anymore. Meanwhile, didn't take long for this to shape up. Look who is all over the back of Michael Parker.
Oh, yeah. The old black and purple.
Old black and purple.
And, Miguel with... How many spots has he made up?
Well, he started, I believe, in about 5th or 6th position, so he hasn't made up as many as... we're used to seeing him make up a bunch of spots, because if there's a knock against Miguel, he sometimes, when he's really good, he's unbeatable. But consistency would be the one thing he struggles with, right? And he's had a couple of DNFs this year, and so you and I are used to watching him have to drive back up through the field,
Well, and a lot of times it's been the consistency of his tech setup.
Yeah, very well could be,
cost
right?
Him a qualifying spot or something.
And as we know, this is a man of many talents. He babysits and cooks dinner and washes laundry and sim races and does everything that a super dad does when he's in the middle of these races. But he, and by the way, Scott Kessel, who is going to quickly get himself recategorized out of the AMP class, probably, is right on the tail of both of these drivers.
Yeah, he's definitely made his presence felt.
Yeah, we definitely have a strong breakaway by these three, because if you go back here to the 4th place car, and I'll see if I can give a little bit of a zoom out view. This is Mark Johnson, who we talked about a few minutes ago, and Mark is leading Kevin Ayers and Robbie Prescott. They are 5 or 6 seconds behind the front 3, so I don't know if you'll be able to see the front 3 even in the picture here. But this is 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th position right here. So if we go back to Edward Nelson, for instance, in this group, this is all battles for position, Ryan, with these cars here in the top 10. So some good racing happening, but definitely a 3-car breakaway ahead of this thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this is one impressive pack. There's a lot of talent crammed into a very small space here.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we focus a little bit, we've kind of talked about the top 5, Michael, Miguel, and Scott out front. Then we've got this pack of drivers. We're on board with Edward Nelson. He's chasing Martin Ister ahead. But, if we go back and just kind of, maybe a little bit deeper into the field, I'd like to make sure that we call out some of the guys that are also racing for equally important positions. And I think maybe we focus around kind of that 20th position. This is Liam Park. Ryan, a driver we've talked a lot about this year. Liam also, I think, could be in the conversation for most improved as well. He's turned a pretty wheel this season. When he's had it going well, it's been good.
Yeah, he's had a couple spots of bad luck, I think, that have taken him out. But when he's on and everything goes, it's good.
He's
quick.
It is, and just ahead of him, you see James Gong. This is James, and these two guys have been together a lot this year, and I know that because their cars look so similar. And a couple of times while we've been broadcasting, I've gotten them confused because they're both in these green machines. But Liam, and it's funny that they keep finding each other on the track. But they're not racing each other because James is a pro driver and Liam is an AM driver. So even though we keep finding them together on the track, these two guys are, you got a situation where James is probably in the, mid to lower half of the top guys on pro. And Liam's kind of at that, upper end, upper third, if you will, on AM. So you're going to find some of these guys, and as you see, they're really getting into it here. Liam getting impatient and wanting to find his way around.
Well, Liam wants those points. They're all competing for the same points, even though they're in different classes.
He does, and and kind of what I talked about. These two guys are putting a lot of pressure on Drew Lidke, and Drew Lidke. No slouch himself, right? But Drew back here in 18th position. So this is a heck of a race right here, actually, that we're watching. Oh,
yeah. These guys, at the start of the season, had just started coming to grips with the, pun intended, of the new tire model and physics that they introduced to the GT3s in iRacing. But 9 races in now, plus a few test races we had, have really allowed them to get things dialed in.
Right. It really has. So I love the battle here. Looks like we've had another issue. This is Nick Owen. Looks like Nick has had a problem where he just went off. No harm, no foul. We also had Gabriel Albano right on board with Gabriel in his cockpit. Looks like he may have an issue, and this is not going to be good. Ouch. That's a cruncher of an incident. It looked like he stalled the car out, and he is in trouble. And that's probably, here he is on pit road. So I don't know if Gabriel knows that he has a fast repair. He either doesn't know that he's got a fast repair, or he's already taken it. Well,
he'll be waiting for the tow right now.
He may, that may be what we're dealing with here. So unfortunately, bad luck for Gabriel. You hit a wall here at Daytona, it's going to be a hard one. That's for sure. This is a world-class facility, and but it's prepped all the way around for hard contact from NASCARs and sports cars like this, for sure. Peeking in back here on our leaders, Ryan, what are you seeing with these guys?
I'm seeing that neither one of them really wants to rock the boat at this point. Miguel's too far back to make a move. He knows it, so he's just trying to stay with them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, and these drivers are so equal, right? At this pointy end, that it's going to take a lot for Miguel to get around him, because I know Michael doesn't want to win this championship, Ryan, without a win, right?
Yeah.
A win to him validates it all, I think. And I know that's got to be what he's thinking. I think he's here. In fact, when he won the Porsche Cup Series race on Sunday that you and I covered, we knew that was a that was something he was going to ride high into this race here tonight.
And you can hear it in the voices. Like when we talked to him after the race, after a win, it's just that little bit better.
Yeah, it is. And, he's determined, right? That's the word that I think we're looking for, right? He's just kind of bound and determined. He's not going to beat himself, right? And I don't know that he's going to let Miguel get around him. But they're setting a blistering pace. Michael's last lap was a 44.7. Miguel also with a 44.7. The third place car, Scott Kessel, who you see in the picture here, is doing everything he can to hang on to these guys. Ran a 45 flat, so they are really setting the pace. Whereas backwards in the field, we're seeing kind of the midpoint of the field in the 23rd, 24th position. Like we'll go to Ernesto Diaz here. This is sort of the midpoint of the field. They're running high 45s and 6s. We ride along here with Ernesto Diaz and Chad Dick, a couple of drivers in AM category, Ryan, having a heck of a battle here, right? So these battles, we can't cover them all, unfortunately, but they are all over the track, right? And Larry Ford's in this battle. So this is 3-4 cars here we're watching in a battle, 4 AM drivers, actually.
Yeah, this season has had so much to give in terms of just straight, like, white-knuckle competition between these drivers.
Really has. It really, really has. And these are some real experienced drivers. We talked a little bit ago about trouble that Larry Ford had. This is Larry. We'll get on, see if we can't get on board with Larry and from his roll bar. We got a nice roll bar camera here with him. Larry, we saw right after Tim Collier spun off, but has battled back. Larry in 24th position. Larry also, by the way, is in sixth position in the points, and we haven't talked a whole lot about Larry up front this year. But I mentioned these battles, Ryan, that you just called upon, because someone like Larry, this is arguably the most experienced sim racer in the field tonight. Larry has been at it since the dawn of sim racing, and he hasn't lost too many steps either. He's pretty dang competitive, even at this later stage of his career, sim racing.
Yeah, he's been one of our most consistent racers, not just this season, but going back as far as anybody can remember, because he's been with us for so long. He's every season, no matter what we drive, he's been there.
Yeah, and I personally owe a lot to a driver like Larry. I don't know that we would really be here tonight if it wasn't for someone like Larry. There's a lot of these stories that you and I are able to tell because we know these guys, and even though we have some guys we don't know very well, that's exciting because you get to learn new guys. But as Larry getting into a battle here with I think that's the 276 car. Who is that in the? That's Anthony James. I think that's a lap car. Anthony James in the working his way back through the field after an issue earlier. But Larry was and Anthony's off the track, so I don't know what's going on there. But Larry was an admin. Ryan, back when I didn't know what I was doing in sim racing, and I'm going to show the instant replay here with Anthony. I don't know what this was. Just got out over his skis, didn't he?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
Yeah, he's not happy. Anthony's gone from bad to worse here. He's having a bad night, which is not a reflection on him. Maybe he needs to go to the donut shop. And yeah, I think he's called it a night on that. He's back in the pits, but. To wrap up on Larry, Larry spent a lot of time back in the 90s really as a leader in the Grand Prix Legends community, and a lot of us have come from that community over to CMS, and so I just don't think we'd be here without guys like this kind of keeping us together all these years, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
I do see, unfortunately, it looks like JT Tammy has maybe had an issue. We were talking about JT, and Ryan, look, I see looks like a problem here for the GT40. This does not look good. That car just looks sick. I don't know if he hit something. Let's go back a little further. Yeah. He's just off the pace. This could... Oh, there it is right there. Ouch.
Oh, just got turned, yeah.
Yeah, and I think he... Look at it. The car just doesn't look good. It looks like it's setting lower than it should. Maybe broke something.
Yeah, not able to hold a straight line there. Peter Hebron is in the Twitch chat. Dropped in to say his race didn't last very long. He didn't make it past lap 2.
Well, that's unfortunate to hear from Peter. Don't know if we've got a replay of that. I might have to go back quite a ways to see what happened there, but sure hate to hear that Peter had a tough night. Peter, another one of those drivers that's been with CMS a long, long time. So, we definitely don't like to see guys like that have an early end of their night. That's no fun for anyone. But Peter, we know you're the type of pro that'll be back next time. It's, shit happens, as they say, and, all you can do is go upward from here is what I would tell him, Ryan, because unfortunately Peter's Peter got the DFL tonight position, which I think we can all figure out what that acronym stands for. No change up front, so we're talking a little bit about what's going on. I think we're probably due for pit stops here though pretty soon, Ryan, wouldn't you think?
We'll be in the window already, I think, so depending on strategy, anytime now.
Yeah, and there has been a few guys already in the pits, but most of that has been due to trouble. I don't think that we've had anybody, in the pits for, just regular service. And by the way, don't look now, but, continuing to move up front here now, and I think we have, and shame on me, I missed it. We've had a change for the lead here. Scott Kessel is now leading this race, Ryan, and I have missed it with all the babbling I've been doing about other stuff. I missed this lead change.
Looks like he's already pulled a gap.
He has, so I can't help but wonder here, is he running on a different fuel strategy and he's lighter right now, or what's going on here, right? Because not only is he taking the lead, but he's got about a 0.6 second lead as these other two are now going side by side. I'm wondering if Michael's got a problem.
I don't know. Or he just lost his momentum during the during the pass.
Yeah, Michael's gone back to third place here. I'm going to see if I can't find where exactly that happened, because this is worthy, I believe, of... trying to comment on if we can figure it out.
Yeah, I can take a scrub back here too.
Because what I'm concerned about is if Michael had an issue of some sort.
I found the pass and it doesn't look like it. I was just trying to I can get a timestamp for you here.
Yeah.
Look from about 30 minutes 47 seconds.
Okay.
yeah, maybe a bit past that. I was a little too soon there.
Yeah, for whatever reason, it's not showing up as anything eventful right here in the log. So let's do this.
No.
Let's just look at Michael's car. It looks okay. So may have just kind of, maybe he decided he didn't want any part of it. But as we say that, Scott Kessel has turned the fastest lap of the race. So the last lap by, not only has this driver taken the lead, he's also shown that he's the fastest car on the track. So kind of coming out of nowhere. Where did he finish? You said he ran with us at Road America.
Yeah, he was lower down the order.
Yeah, so Scott, huge shout out to him. And Ryan, I don't think we have had an AM driver win an overall race in the season that I'm aware of.
That's a good question.
We do have some pit stops happening. Looks like Nick Kuhn and Richard McClure, who we're on with here now live, have both made pit stops. Actually, we're not exactly live with them. This is them coming down to pit road. So these are a couple of drivers making some of the first pit stops in the race. John Thompson also has come in. So we are starting to see drivers come in intentionally now to make some stops, so that window, to your point, is open. Yeah, but Scott, he's got an 1800 I rating, whereas both of the championship contenders behind him are well over 3500. So would be pretty phenomenal if we had a AM car win an overall race, wouldn't it?
Definitely. I don't know. Maybe he's got some home track advantage or something. I'm not sure where he's from.
Well, we may, if things go the way they're going, we may be finding out all the answers to these questions when we interview him.
We may.
Here in a little bit, right? And not only is he out front, but he has stretched a little bit of a gap for himself. All right, so before too many more pit stops happen, let's actually just do a rundown of the top 5 in each of the categories. So we ride along here with Scott Kessel. Scott is the overall leader. He is also the leader in the AM class. If we go back about 11 seconds from Scott is another Porsche. That is Edward Nelson. So we're on with Edward now. And he's actually chasing yet another Porsche and Mark Nister, but Mark in the Pro class. So this is in the silver Porsche that's in the tail, the lighter silver of the two Porsches. And the tail end of this pack is Edward Nelson. Edward currently in P2 in the AM class. And then if we go back another 10 seconds or so, we come upon Daniel Howard at the Dog Bear team. Love this paint scheme. We've talked about this one before, Ryan, with this just awesome blue and orange and black. It's just such a great color combo on a car. This is third place in AM at the moment.
Yeah, that is a great looking car.
Daniel having a good race. But they're spread out in the AM category. That's the top 3. Really, we don't have to go much further back. About 3 seconds back to another Dog Bear car. One of the Ferraris is Shane Norton in P4. And then shout out to Zach Sternhagen. I don't know that we've talked a whole lot about Zach. I don't know that Zach's been in very many races, but Zach with the Ghosts as we call them, and holding a very pretty wheel tonight in 5th place overall in the AM category in this Lamborghini, and looking quite strong, I should say, at that as the sun goes down. Good to see Zach having a good race. So that's the top 5 in the AM category. If we go back to the pros, we've got Miguel Colon and Michael Parker. This is 1 and 2, as you see here. And these are two protagonists, if you will, or and I guess Scott Kessel would be the antagonist right now in the movie, right? These two are... Miguel's doing his part. He's ahead of Michael. He's contending for the win, but he needs to be a lot more ahead of Michael. And we don't want to wish anything bad to happen to any of these guys. Kevin Ayers is a little bit behind these guys. He's about 8 seconds behind. And this is actually, as we see Mark Johnson coming in. So Mark Johnson's coming off of the track to pit as Kevin continues to go on. So we're definitely seeing some of the leaders now, come in for their pit stops. So here's Mark Johnson. In this CMS BMW, beautiful car. Wild paint scheme on this one.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I thought Mark had pitted, but he didn't. Mark Johnson. He's just slipped back a little bit. Had a 48-second lap time last time by, so I'm not sure what happened here to him. It looks like he did have an issue. Here it is right here. Well, what happened there, Ryan? But let's watch this a little bit. It's right on board with Mark. Thinking he may have had an issue in the bus stop here. Oh, I don't know what happened. That's got to be a mechanical issue of some sort.
Or something external. He had to
something jumped
pull
up
over to deal with something in real life.
Yeah, or kitty cat jumped in his lap or something. But
yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like Chad Dick had an issue. Here's Chad. Ooh, got a little help from behind and got sent.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, he is not going to be happy about that. Let's go back here and watch what happened. Ryan, rewind this, and looks like this was a battle for position, and yeah, just missed it. Car behind him just missed it there, and
yeah,
Chad not going to be happy with that. He is continued, but can't imagine what came out over his radio when all that happened.
Well, drivers were warned or had asked about bump drafting before the race, and we said no. And that's not the place you'd want to do it anyway.
Oh, yeah, it's not. Not in the middle of the infield, I wouldn't think. But you never know what guys are thinking, right? That may have been a message saying, "Hey, I'm ready to get around you here."
Yeah.
But I doubt it. I think it was probably just a mistake there.
I think he just missed his braking point.
Yeah. Yeah, and meanwhile, as we talk about all this, I'll see if I can get a view for you all. Kind of setting sail now on this thing is Scott Kessel. You can see him going through the chicane now, and the two championship contenders are now 2 seconds behind, or a second and a half behind him. So he's stretching this thing out a little bit now at this point, Ryan. And he is flying. He's running 43-second lap times.
Yeah, that's something else. Those guys behind him have the benefit of the draft, but he's well out of it at this point.
He is really looking good here. Let's get on board here with him. Watch him take his way around. This is my gyro cam that we have, and we're going to see him. You're going to have a newfound appreciation when he comes out of the infield, gets on the banking. When you see this Porsche, the kind of G's that's put on it. Oh, and boy, just about having an issue with the car in front of him there. That was Ernesto Diaz. He's definitely working his way through. This is natural lap traffic that he's going around here now.
Just love that McLaren exhaust.
Yeah, you just gotta love that. That was Ernesto Diaz. He ran around, and this is Warren McCrary. So really, really looking strong. Look at that, how extreme it is from this camera. Make you seasick. We'll go back into the normal cockpit view here, but look at how he is just making quick work of these guys as he goes around them all. The Porsche is wound up, isn't it?
It's making it look pretty easy.
Yeah, he is. He's putting on a clinic here tonight. But, you know, the minute we say that, look who's right on his tail again all of a sudden here now. Here's Miguel Colon. And Miguel looking like he's ready to make a move here now. Boy, getting really sideways in front of him there. This is high risk right now with what the leaders are dealing with. Going through the lap traffic. The lights are on the cars. It's getting darker out. Michael Parker working his way around. These are all cars. Some of these guys really struggling that they're going around. And we've also got cars on pit road, so I'm going to really quickly show you kind of some of the cars on pit road. This is in real time. We've got Mark Nister, Christian Youngwall, Kevin Ayers. These are all cars pitting, many of which are pitting from the top 15 right now and taking service. It's a long pit road here, and you can really make it or break it on a pit stop here, Ryan.
Yeah, it's long, and the exit is a little bit treacherous if there are any vehicles on track at the same position there.
Right, but just as we thought Scott Kessel was going to run off with this thing, now Miguel Colon and Michael Parker have both pulled back within striking distance. Coming up on about, and Scott Kessel's pulling off the track here for the pits. So here he is. Let's cover this pit stop. About to start seeing who's going to have the best crew. Looks like he comes in here. Don't like that he wouldn't in that fast lane. It was dangerous, I think, for Scott to be where he was, coming down all the way through the stalls. You could see the other car behind him in the pits at the same time. Almost had to wait for him. What are you thinking here? No tires in this for these guys?
I think there's going to be a bit of a split. It's definitely possible to certainly double stint these tires around here.
Yeah.
But whether some drivers are going to just choose to take tires anyway.
Yeah, Michael Parker coming out of the pit road as well. Here's Michael. So I will give you an idea of what type of pit stops we're seeing here time-wise. They're back out on track. Michael had a... Oh, as a car... Oh, was that Chris? Was that the leader around in front of him here? Look, I think it is, Ryan.
It looks like him.
Yeah, I want to see if I can... I've got this paused. Yeah, it is. This is Scott Kessel. Look at this. Watch this here. Coming out of the pits.
Oh,
yeah. How unfortunate. And you can see Michael Parker go right around him. Cold tires. It just bit him.
Yeah. Well, one of my teammates was saying that he wasn't going to take tires because he was faster on the warm ones.
Yeah, and boy, how unfortunate for Scott for that to happen. And so that leaves Miguel Colon, now the leader, and we ride along with Miguel. I gotta think he's coming to the pits probably this time by, because he is the only car now that has not pitted. And Ryan, I don't have it in front of me to know what the fuel was for tonight, but how long the cars could run max distance on fuel.
Right. The tanks are set to 85%, and that usually gets somewhere in the neighborhood of 45 minutes.
Yeah, I gotta think if he's not in this time, he's going to be in the following time. So what's going to be key here is he going to keep the lead, or is Michael Parker going to pull off the undercut?
Right.
So, because Michael Parker now I'm showing about 51 seconds behind Miguel on the track.
Yeah, that's about the length of the pit stop here.
Yeah, and Miguel, dealing with some lap traffic here. See if he comes in. It's to me like he is. Yep, here he comes. Let's cover this stop. And then we'll get right on Michael and see where Michael is when Miguel comes out of the pits. I think Miguel had the lead on the track when they were together chasing Kessel around. And boy, how punishing for Kessel. That's dropped him now back. Cost him 10 seconds or so. And these guys are so fast that I don't think you can make 10 seconds up out on the track at their level.
Yeah, that's a long time unless there's a mistake somewhere.
So here he comes. Michael about 15 seconds behind right now on the track, but it's a long pit road. That's Michael right there. You can see him. Or no, actually, this is Michael. My apologies. He's going to be behind Miguel, and I think he's going to be behind Miguel by quite a bit. So not only does Miguel get this position or retains the position for the overall lead, but Ryan, I'm now showing that Michael Parker about 7 seconds behind him on the track.
Yep.
Miguel all the way up here in the second horseshoe right now, whereas Michael was just going through the first. So either he had a much more efficient pit stop or had to take less fuel or didn't take tires or... Yeah, and I'm actually showing maybe he did not take tires. Yeah, and I'm showing a difference in their pit stop was about 6 seconds. So Michael had a slow pit stop. That's the difference.
Well, let's see what he can do with it, if he can make the time back, or, maybe he's just comfortable taking the tires, a little bit of safety. He knows what he has to do to win the championship at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, right? That's what matters, is winning the championship. We talked earlier about how hungry he was for a win, and early on in this race, it looked like he was going to be unstoppable, but then Scott Kessel obviously had different thoughts on that thing. Scott in here with nothing to lose, and seemed like he just kind of, broke Michael's momentum, and now maybe what's happened now, Ryan, is that Michael's changed his mindset, right? He's a smart enough driver to know, take what it's going to give you, and the championship's what everybody's going to remember, not whether or not you won at Daytona. Well, depends on, maybe at NASCAR that might be a, what's bigger, winning the NASCAR championship or the Daytona 500? Yeah. Right? Those are both pretty big, right? But at any rate, let's talk about a few drivers that we don't normally get an opportunity to talk about and give them a little bit of airtime. What do you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How about this car? Pink, white, and just loud. And look at the flames coming out of the back of this McLaren. Guys, this is Warren McCrary. We love Warren. You want to talk about... I guarantee you there is nobody out here running tonight with a bigger smile on their face than Warren. Warren's not going to... And he knows this. He's not going to set any lap records out here tonight. Warren's... he's beyond having to prove anything. He's retired in his career, and very successful career at that. And he's doing all this now for giggles and grins, Ryan. And having a fairly solid run. His car looks nice and clean. He's in 36th position, 1 lap down, and his times are competitive. He ran a 46.6 in the race. So, And driving this McLaren, it takes some guts to drive this McLaren, doesn't it?
Yeah, I like the McLaren, but it does. It takes a second to get the hang of it for sure.
It does, and you'll have to help me with this, but this might be the only McLaren on the track tonight. We talk a lot about the GT40, but this McLaren, it's its own animal, and you either love it or hate it, right? But look how cool it looks from the inside.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd find another just amazing piece of machinery out here than this vehicle. And Warren, of course, with the pink and white gloves, Warren's a driver that he's going to make sure he's going to look good doing it, right? No matter where he's at the end. And there's the GT40 ahead of him. So he's out here battling with the other unique car, right? I love it. I love seeing this thing go around the track. I love calling out some of these drivers that we don't normally get a chance to talk about too much. Another driver we haven't talked about a lot tonight, but we've talked a lot about during the season. And I've got to think he's super disappointed tonight. Unfortunately, this is Chris Brunnemer. What's going on with Chris, Ryan? He's a lap down. He started in the back. And, you would have thought that we would see this driver move up front. He's won a couple of races. He just came off of a win at Watkins Glen and running in 33rd position tonight. So I'm not sure what the problem is here, but he's had a rough go of it.
Yeah, he's had a tough race.
Yeah, car looks okay, but it wouldn't surprise me if maybe he's, had a fast repair. Maybe could have been fighting some gremlins. It's that's the other thing you gotta, when you have a series as popular as this one is, you've got to realize that it's going to really tax your PC. We had 47 cars take the field tonight, so if you're going to have any gremlins in your PC, it's going to show itself in a race like this, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, disappointed for Chris that he's not having the run. I want to talk about Jacob Rudd. Here's Jacob, car number 16, 29th position here. Great looking BMW. And don't get a chance to talk about Jacob a whole lot, but this is a solid run for him. Jacob is a team owner in the upcoming iRacing Team Endurance Series. He's in a nice little battle here. That's Miguel Colon actually going around him to lap him. So that's our leader going around Jacob. Jacob actually the last car on the lead lap right now, so finally falling to the clutches of Miguel Colon. But Jacob's been a big supporter of the league, and want to make sure that he knows that we appreciate him for it. And he's going to have one, maybe two cars in the iRTES season. He's one of the team owners, and I like seeing the team owners out here driving,
Definitely.
Yeah. Another guy to kind of keep with the theme here. Brian, I can't imagine this driver's happy with this performance tonight. Here's Drew Lidke back in 28th position, one lap down. That's not the Drew we normally see.
No, it sure isn't. He's always up at the sharp end.
Yeah, and he's, this is a battle for position with him and Jacob. We were just talking about Jacob. This is Drew just right ahead of him, and I'm surprised maybe Drew didn't get an opportunity to practice, or might be testing something different maybe. I believe Drew will be in the iRTES race this weekend in the Can-Am car, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Here's another one. This we would be remiss if we did not have a huge shout out to this driver. Folks, this is Stephen Yanni. Stephen is our points leader in the GT-AM category tonight. And, Ryan, this is worth talking about here. Stephen not having the kind of race I think he would want to have, and he is in 28th position overall, okay? He has only a 16-point lead over Nick Kuhn. And Nick Kuhn ahead of him right now by about 7 positions on the track. Is that going to factor into this thing? Here's Nick up ahead. I don't know enough about the point spread off the top of my head, but this would be something, I don't know if you're able to get access to it. If not, that's okay. But Is this the separation Nick needs to have a shot at that championship over Steven?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Remind me again, where are they running right now?
So Nick is in 19th position overall.
Okay.
That's the car we're on with here now, the Lamborghini Dog Bear Nick Kuhn. And Stephen Yanni is in 26th position, a ways back here. And these are our top two in the points. So Stephen currently with a 16-point lead. And between these two drivers, they've amassed 4 wins together. Stephen with 3 of the 4.
Right.
And Nick coming off of a win last week at Watkins Glen. But I'm really curious about this all of a sudden. You know, both of them look to have done their pit stops. But Steven not having the race that he's shown he's capable of, and Nick, Nick definitely has the upper hand here on this one. So you have to let me know what you can find out there. Right. I'll also, go ahead.
So the difference in points between 19th and 26th would be a 7-point spread.
Okay, so yeah, that's not going to do it for Nick. Nick needs... That would leave him 9 short. So I got to think he's got to make up another, 5-6 positions?
Something along those lines at least. Because it's 1 point per position all the way up to I think 5th place.
Yeah, well, let's definitely keep an eye on this battle and see if we see anything, that's reason for concern. This is inside the Stephen Yanni car right here, and I don't see anything to be concerned with. But I just don't think he's got. Just don't think he's putting together the race that he wanted to. And by the way, that's no discredit to him. And speaking of which, as that happened, Nick Kuhn puts another position of separation between him as he gets around Richard McClure to move up to 18th place. But it's just a competitive field tonight. I'm looking at Steven's lap times. His last lap was a 45.1. That's only 0.6 off of what Miguel Colon's running, but the field is stacked tonight.
Everybody came to win, it seems.
Yeah. Well, let's keep an eye on this. The other thing we could be dealing with is that, you might be seeing a little bit of separation of the guys who ran Daytona 24 back in January and had a setup dialed in, and guys who maybe didn't, potentially, and just don't have the amount of testing, if you will, underneath their belt in this one. Another driver I want to talk about, just the model of consistency, the model of CMS. We should have a picture of this guy in the CMS logo, Chris Hudson. Chris having a really, really strong run tonight. 43 car. He's been running that number for as long as I can remember. That's been his number here at CMS. And Chris, one of our longtime members, having a great race with Mark Johnson right now, just ahead of him in the BMW. These are 2 of our teammates, Ryan. Chris is a teammate of yours on Can-Am, and Mark is a teammate of mine, just ahead of him here on the Longhorn Racing and CMS Endurance team. So can't think of 2 better guys to be having a heck of a battle here than these 2. And it looks like Chris is going to go for the move. Nice.
Mark leaving the inside open.
He might have just said you can have it.
Yeah.
Which is. Mark's not one to known to do that, but he's also, if he knows he's beaten, he knows Chris and they know each other, and he's going to realize that it's a long game we're playing here, not just one race.
Right.
No change up front, so we still have Miguel Colon with now a hefty lead. It was exciting there for a little while. Michael Parker, Miguel Colon, Scott Kessel. But Scott having trouble and Michael having a bad pit stop. We're about to see, I think, a very good chance here of Miguel winning his 4th race of the season. And I think it'll be a little short of the championship. unless something were to change with Michael. But boy, 4 wins. This is obviously you can't argue the talent. This is the man to beat, week in and week out.
Yes, he's been so good.
Yeah, he really has been. Really proud of the effort. And then we talked so much earlier about Scott Kessel, and it's such a fine line between winning and not, right? In this case, Scott's still on the podium, but boy, that spin coming out of the pits just killed him. He's about 15 seconds now behind Miguel, so and has slowed down a little bit. He was running 10 tenths laps, and looks like we've got Nuclear Bubble. I'm not sure who that is on the Twitch chat. It sounds like, unfortunately, somebody that was here tonight and did not have that great of a race. Glad you're enjoying the broadcast nonetheless, and hang in there. These sorts of things happen if you have a rough race, and we're here to help make sure you have fun. So hopefully can live for another day and stick with it over time. Also want to just thank everybody that's tuned in to watch us, Ryan. You and I have had a lot of fun with this. Definitely has been a lot of fun to bring these races to you all.
This has been the only way I've been able to get my wife to watch any motorsports.
For my wife, if it's not NASCAR, it's not racing. So she's like, I don't know what that stuff is, but it's not NASCAR, and I don't see Tony Stewart, so I'm not interested, right?
What do you mean they turn right?
Exactly. How about Paul Hamilton? Here's Paul Hamilton. Paul having a solid run, top 25 tonight on the lead lap. This is a good run here for Paul. Really excited to see Paul on the Wednesday Night League. He hasn't been a regular for a while on Wednesday nights, and I don't know for sure, Ryan, but Paul might be our biggest mover tonight. He's in 25th position, which on the surface doesn't sound like much, but he's up 20 positions from where he started in the race.
Wow.
Yeah. So zoom out a little bit on Paul and let you see him take in Daytona here. Kind of on an island. He's kind of out there by himself right now. And I am showing about 8 cars retired from the race. So unfortunately, Ryan Flanagan, Claude Belval had a retirement tonight. Danny LePage, Ray Partridge, Tim Collier, Joe Stiefel, and Peter Hebron. Unfortunately, all out tonight, and it was Ryan who was chatting with us on the Twitch channel. So, Ryan, sorry to hear you had a tough race there, buddy. The biggest story, though, I think at this point here, Ryan, as we've got about a little less than 10 minutes in the race, I've got to come back here just to keep an eye on this thing. Stephen Yanni still in 26th position, and Nick Kuhn is now up to 17th, Ryan. So now there are 9 positions between these two. Does that change anything?
That is going to be close. Wasn't there... What was the championship spread?
Yeah, the championship spread to them might be... It's certainly in Stephen's favor. He's got a 16-point lead over Nick. And they're 9 positions apart on the track right now. So I don't. Does that mean he's still? Yeah.
If my mental math is good, he's got 7 positions yet that he can afford.
Yeah, and I don't think there's going to be any issues with fuel. And really, I'm looking at Nick here now. This is Larry Ford right behind him. We'll go on board with Larry and just kind of watch. He may be about to lose this position, actually, to Larry. This is Larry trying to get around Nick. But there's not many more positions for Nick to gain, because you've got to go up to Liam Park, who's about 15 seconds ahead of him, before he can gain another spot. And unless there's trouble, I don't see that happening.
Yeah.
So again, let's go top 3 this time in each class. Scott Kessel here in the AM class in the first position. And by the way, all of a sudden, we've got a race here for the win in AM category. Ed Nelson is right on him. So this is Ed right behind Scott now. And we'll show you the onboard. There they are. You can see him come through. Ed Nelson, we might be seeing a battle here, Ryan, for the win in the AM category.
Ed is certainly back there saying, "Hi there, I'd like to win too."
Mm-hmm. And it's sneaky that he's gotten there, right? We haven't talked we've talked a little bit about him tonight, but not a ton. But here he is. I mean, he's there. He really is there. I think he's going to have draft here as well. Let's stay with this here for a minute. No change up front. Miguel Colon 6 seconds over Michael Parker, and then it's these two guys. This is 3rd and 4th in the race, and 1 and 2 in the overall AM category for tonight. Neither of these drivers factoring into the championship, and right now we will let you all know if anything changes, but we believe Michael Parker is in position to seal the championship with a 2nd place overall right now, and we believe that even though he's not having the race he would want to, that Stephen Yanni has got enough of a gap over Nick Kuhn to hold on there, and I'm hoping maybe, Ryan, tonight we'll get a chance not only to talk to, maybe as we wrap up, we can talk to our winners from tonight, but our championship winners as well would be great.
Yeah, we'll see who we can get.
Yeah, see who shows up. Looking at the lap times here as they come across, Scott Kessel with a 43.7, Ed Nelson with a 43.4. So he was 0.4 faster that time. And, I mean, he's there. It's one thing to catch him, though, and another thing to pass him. So, but I know both of these guys would like to end the season on a win. Edward Nelson has only run 3 races on the year, so he's been a part-timer, but when he has run, he's been super strong. So I'm sure for him, especially if he thinks he might be able to run the full championship in Season 2, he would probably love nothing more than to be able to finish here tonight with a statement win. That would be pretty cool. And then Scott Kessel, we talked about him earlier. He's only run Road America where he had kind of a mid-pack finish, and then he's just exploded on the scene here tonight, Ryan.
Yeah, he came to work tonight.
Yeah, I don't know that we've talked about a driver more than we have Scott tonight, Really cool to see these two Porsches chase each other down around the track.
Yeah, I love this onboard as we go into the dark here.
Now, I don't know enough to know this, and maybe I should, but is there a chance that with these two guys in these Porsches, are these guys teammates and running a similar setup, and both of them really benefiting not only from great driving, but, a common setup in these cars? And also I think just maybe in general, this track might be showing from a BOP perspective. Right now in the top, in the top 10, there's about four, maybe 5 Porsches in the top 10. They're dealing with some lap traffic ahead. You can see here, just ahead of them is a lap car, and this is not going to help Scott Kessel at all, as Ed is all over him here now. He's got to get around this Daniel Howard. I believe that's Daniel Howard just ahead of them. No, I'm sorry. My apologies. That's Chris Brunnemer actually ahead of them. And, boy, you and I talked about Chris earlier. He gets out of the way, but that's not something we haven't seen Chris be passed by very many people at all this season, Ryan, let alone guys in the AM class.
That's right. Yeah.
So, got about 3 minutes left in the race here. This is the most exciting battle. And so we're going to stay with it until we get to where we can show our leaders. I will keep you all updated. Stephen Yanni still in 26th position. Nick Kuhn in 17th position. No change there. So at this point, we don't believe this. Of course, anything Ryan and I say is unofficial. But we don't believe there will be a change for the... here he goes. He's going for it right here. We don't believe a change for the AM championship based on that spread. And we don't believe any material impact on the overall championship either for the pro category with Michael Parker, Miguel Colon. So yeah.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, what we're going to focus on is just a good old-fashioned race here, right?
Indeed.
These two guys. Where do you want to be here? 2 laps to go. Do you want to be Scott trying to defend, or do you want to be Edward Nelson? Is he in the catbird seat here?
I want to be Edward Nelson right on the back of Scott.
Right, and him have to throw a block to keep me behind him.
But I'd want to be making my move pretty soon.
Yeah, because I've got to think, I'm showing about a minute and a half left. I'm thinking Miguel Colon may be being shown a white flag by now. Let's go up and take a quick peek at Miguel. He's on NASCAR. Coming down the front stretch. I've got to think this is white flag for Miguel here, wouldn't you think, Ryan?
Yeah, I would think so, but I can't be sure.
Yeah, so white flag for Miguel.
It doesn't show us flags.
Right. Michael Parker in second here, about 6-7 seconds back. And then it's these guys. Here they are. This has got to be white flag for them as well. I just don't know that he's going to have enough closure to even make a move.
Yeah, you'd want to be a little closer.
Yeah, just a little bit closer. Just don't think he's there. He needs to... Maybe his last shot is descended into that bus stop. Yeah, I think just maybe a little bit too much of a gap. So let's get on here with Miguel Colon. This is our leader. We're going to watch Miguel come all the way around here. Do a rear chase of him all the way around to take what will be his 4th win of the season in just a phenomenal effort. Here he comes. There's our winner, Miguel Colon. Here comes our second place and what will be our championship winner of the series, flashing his lights. There, you got to love that, Ryan. He knows what he just did. And then here they come, 3rd and 4th place. It did not change. That's Scott Kessel, Ed Nelson in 4th position. And then let's go on back a little bit further. Here's Nick Kuhn, who we've been talking about. Nick just now coming on to NASCAR. And we just kind of want to make sure nothing crazy happens here. I believe Nick is going to end up kind of finishing in that 17th spot. He's coming through the bus stop now. The reason we're focused on Nick is not so much, his situation, but what's going on with Stephen Yanni behind. And so we'll come to Stephen here in a moment. Looks like Nick's okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go around to Stephen. He's just now coming back on the NASCAR. We're going to stay with Stephen here, folks, and enjoy this ride. This driver has had a remarkable season, Ryan. 3 wins. And really, he's just been so excited, too. Every time that we've talked to Stephen, and we've had the opportunity to talk to him a couple of times on interview now, you got to love a driver who's just excited to be here. Yeah, here he goes, flashing his lights. He knows what he's accomplished. May not have gotten the result he wanted tonight. Boy, he almost looks like he's out of gas or something.
Oh.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's good.
That's it. Yeah, he's on the cool down now.
He's on the cool down now. Actually, he's coming to the pits. Okay, he's just on the cool down, so I'm a little bit behind. So anyhow, congrats to Stephen for a remarkable season. He's going to do some donuts for us. And he just decides he'll just do them right on pit road. Is he going to get a penalty for that, Ryan?
I don't know.
And also at the same time, look at Miguel Colon and Michael Parker, both doing burnouts of their own. How cool is this? These are our championship and race winners tonight, and what a remarkable. They've got a lot to be proud of, and I'm proud of them. I was just privileged to be able to bring it to them. I know you were too.
Oh yeah.
To bring this to everybody, so really, really cool to see all 3 of them here now in the infield. You can see all 3 of them in the infield doing their donuts. I love it, right? Well, Ryan, we'll have to see if we've got anybody we can talk to here. We'll give them a minute to all kind of get off the track and get in here with you and I, but boy, what a season.
Yeah, let's see who we can rustle up.
Yeah, let's see, Scott Kessel. Haven't seen any of the other guys make it in yet. We'll give them a second here to. Here comes Michael Parker, the man of the hour. Let's bring him in, and I'll let you take it away with him if you'd like to, Ryan.
All right. Hey, Michael, can you hear us?
Oh, looks like we got to invite him. I just invited him to speak.
Okay. Hey, Michael. Hey, congratulations, man. That was looked like a really fun race back and forth, but unofficially, provisionally, championship winner. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it, David and Ryan. Yeah, it was definitely one of those type of races where you don't want to take risks, but you knew your championship rival's behind you, and if he wins, I definitely couldn't make any mistakes. So Miguel did incredible. I knew he wasn't pushing in the first couple of laps, so we were just trying to get away from Scott, who was flying. So we're just trying to keep it clean, and all the way through till the pit stops, I added a little bit too much fuel, so that's where that gap came from.
Okay, we were wondering what happened there, because you were, I think David said about 6 seconds slower on the pit stop.
Yep. Yeah, it was crew chief let me down on this one, but it's okay. I just needed to stay right behind Miguel, and I knew the championship was over.
Yeah, right. I tell you, Ryan and I were talking quite a bit about it, and early on, we talked a lot about you in qualifying and what you had accomplished this past weekend at Daytona in the Peak Up race, and Michael, you looked pretty determined to win this race, and our money was really riding on you, and then kind of out of nowhere, Scott Kessel came along, an AM driver.
Oh, yeah.
Who's run one race with us this year, and boy, he was bad fast, and I really think may have won this race had he not had a spin coming out of pit road on his outlap after his pit stop. But what was going through your mind when that all was going down? And were you thinking, who is this guy and where did he come from? Or
100%. I saw him in the quali results, and I was like, okay, AM driver right up there. I think it was second he qualified, but yeah, it was definitely in the back of my mind where I knew he wasn't anyone that was contending for the championship, so I just needed to make sure he had some room. And I didn't want to fight with him or Miguel at the beginning because I knew Daytona, draft city. So
right, and I think with Ryan, I know you and I talked about this. Scott had to have been an unknown quantity for Michael, and you made the right decision. You didn't want to dice it up. No, mean that in the nicest of ways to Scott. He drove a great race, and I don't think you had anything to worry about. But you couldn't put yourself in a risk there with a driver you just don't know, maybe. So I think you made the. I think you realized the situation you were in, and what really mattered in the end, and that was the championship.
exactly, like even Miguel, like we kind of the car language, body language, whatever you want to call it. We knew what we were doing at the beginning, so I trusted him 100%. Scott was the wild card for sure, so I was just trying to make sure we all drove clean and that we were all respectful. Like it was incredible racing. Even when we got to the back of traffic, it was something else.
Yeah, well, we certainly enjoyed it. Well, Michael, we're going to bring in Stephen Yanni. He was our championship co-champion with you in the AM category, and go do some more donuts and celebrate with your wife tonight. And can't wait to see you on the one more time at Daytona this weekend.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. Daytona is one of those tracks just special. So I appreciate it, Champion Motorsports, and shout out to the wife and all these awesome competitive drivers, Miguel, and yeah, all the AM drivers that are still kicking butt.
Yeah, great job. We're proud of you, buddy, and you represent us really, really well. So congrats again.
Appreciate that. Thanks, David. Thanks, Ryan. Take
Yeah,
care.
what David said. See you, Michael.
See ya.
All right, let's bring in Stephen Yanni, Ryan. I'll let you kick it off with Stephen.
Sure, I do notice he was muted, but we'll see if he's got his mic working.
Yeah, let's invite him to speak, and if he's not able to, we'll find someone else and give him a few minutes to get organized. And it doesn't look like he's in yet, so let's bring in, how about we grab Miguel Colon?
Sounds good.
And see, oh, it looks like Stephen might be in here now. Stephen,
Hey.
Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, Steven, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
All right. Hey, congratulations provisionally for taking that AM championship. Well done.
Thank you. I wasn't sure of the points, to be honest. I had an incident in lap 1, and yeah, I had to pit right away to fix the car. So I just kind of was trying to qualify for every lap almost. I didn't have the best pace, but yeah, I wasn't sure if I had the enough points to maintain lead.
Well, don't quote us on this, but we did the math and we think you're okay.
That would be nice.
Right on, man.
Yeah, we believe you're here for a reason, right? First of all, a phenomenal season. I think you won 3 races, if I'm not mistaken. You were just amazing out there. We've loved having you here at CMS, and Nick Kuhn had a really strong race. He was your closest rival, and had a really strong race last week, and was a little better out there tonight. We could tell you were, we talked a little bit on the broadcast that you probably weren't real happy with the run you had, but I think you drove smart and within yourself and kept the big picture in mind. And if our math is correct, you had a little bit more of a gap than you thought you did. I think he would have needed another 3 or 4 positions to catch you.
Okay. Wow, awesome. Well, you know what? It was a ton of fun racing with you guys. Honestly, like even on the races where it wasn't the best, it was still a lot of fun. Everybody was very respectful, and I'm glad I'm with this community. I look forward to more racing with you guys.
Well, that's really good. Right on, Stephen. As you know, we've got season 2 coming up in just a couple of weeks here. We'll be in the preseason, so I hope you're all geared up for that. It'll be more GT3 fun.
Yeah, yep. I'll be in.
Yeah, we hope to see you out there. Thanks again. Congrats. Enjoyed watching you do the donuts in the infield at Daytona. Nothing better than that, buddy. Whether it's in the real world or the sim world, win at Daytona is something you'll sleep well tonight.
Yeah, that's very true. Thank you guys so much. Thanks for organizing this. It's amazing.
You bet.
You're welcome. Ryan, let's bring in Miguel Colon. I'll let you kick it off with him.
As soon as he's in here, there he is. Hey, welcome, Miguel.
How's it going, guys? Good night.
Hey, good night. Yeah, so tell us about your race. It looks like you were right there up at the front. Lots of position changes, lots of fun.
Yeah, I think I would say it was a little challenge today. One of those another time, not much track time for practice. I only were able to do 4 laps. I dumped in the setup for the 24 hours when I was testing this car for the 24. We actually drove the BMW, not the Lambo. So I had a setup, so I was like, let me put it in, try it, give it a try. I tried to for 4 laps. It didn't work out. The car was too loose for the track conditions. So I used the quali, which I already had, and then for the race, I just basically took a swing to see if it helped with the loose of the car. I didn't know how I was going to react or anything. So I decided to, the first section of the race, just follow the guys, take the draft, make the most I could do with the fuel saving, and then try to out-strategy the guys. And then once I got the feel on the car, then I was kind of a little pushing more at the end. It worked out.
Well, you did really well. I think you didn't qualify. Is that right?
Well, I qualified, but the first lap I spin out on the bus stop because the setup was a little too loose, and then I didn't have too much time for do the second lap, so I had to basically put the car straight back up again and go out of the bus stop without speed to my second lap of qualifying. I think I did a 44.0 or something like that.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit, or Ryan was wrapping up some of the driver meeting stuff, but we were pretty concerned, Miguel, that if you didn't get a lap in, and you barely got one in, based on what you just described before the clock went out. It
was like 3 seconds when I passed the finish line.
Yeah, but it was enough to get you up there in a 5th or 6th starting spot. Even for you, as stressful as that was, you did a phenomenal job, and just really proud of you. I mean, you were a little bit short on the championship. Just the consistency wasn't quite there for you. A couple of DNFs at Spa, and I think maybe Mosport, but boy.
Yeah, I think Mosport killed me. That was the race that I would say cost me the championship. But I think Michael did very good this season. He deserved the championship. He was I would say the most consistent driver without having any big incidents or just taking the car to the finish. So I think at the end you can win 20 races, but if you have too many DNF, that will keep you back. So I think he deserved that championship. He did very well.
Yeah, no shame in finishing second in the champion and just ship to Michael. And we can't wait to see you guys battle this weekend at iRTES. I know the two of you will be out there driving. You might be in different classes and cars, but we're just so excited to have the two of you represent us here as the champions in this series, and then carry it right over to Sunday, in the big show. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, I would say. I think having a baby like today, I'm running with the baby on the side again, sleeping.
So, we were talking about that.
She actually wake up when we had 20 minutes to go. I had to start yelling to my son, "Could you come over here help me?" But I was sitting in the rig, and he actually stepped up, helped me to put her back again to sleep. So I could finish the race. But to be on the top and running with the top guys, you have to practice a lot, and I think that's what has been my asterisk. I don't have the same time I had it before, but we're gonna see what we can do.
Yeah, boy, imagine what you could do when you could practice. I don't know that we want to. You might run people off.
Not as much, but I think it will help me to be more consistent, avoid less mistakes. But that's I would take it. I try to race league lines. When I could do the official with the special elements, I do those. But now with the baby coming up, I think I'm gonna miss the Porsche Cup for the Sebring race. I think it's the same weekend of the Sebring, so I'm probably gonna be heading down to the Sebring race. So
Nice.
I miss that one.
Yeah, we'll enjoy it for sure. And Miguel, thanks for coming by and talking to us a few times this year. And I'm sure this is not the last time that we're going to speak to you either. So hopefully you'll get a chance to speak to our buddies at Apex this weekend after the iRTES race. And enjoy the win tonight, another great one. And we'll catch up with you soon, buddy.
Yeah, thank you guys. This was a very good season. I want to say that the league is packed. There's a lot of people coming to every night, and that's good. Having a big field to race every night in, every night out. I know that's tough to get a lot of people coming consistently, at least to the end of the race or the last race of the league. That has the attendance has been great so far this season, so that has been good. So appreciate it for what you guys are doing. I would say thank you to you guys for everything.
Well, thank you, Miguel. You've been coming out and supporting us for a long time now, and we really love having you around.
Yeah, I was trying to defend I got the trophy here. It was like the fall 2021 championship in GT3, but I fell short by a couple points. That's good. That's good. I had a good time with the guys.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go, Miguel, and we've got one more guy to talk to, I think.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. See you.
Yeah, good night, Miguel.
All right, let's see if we can bring in Scott Kessel, and then I don't know if we'll have time, Ryan, but I'd love it if we could get Tim Collier in to just talk a little bit about Season 2. I sent him a note to see if he'd be interested in joining us, but we'll see what he says. Scott, can you hear us?
Yeah, how are you?
Wow, we are great after watching you tonight. A little bit short, but we have to say, Ryan and I were talking about this. I don't know that there was another driver that we talked more about than you tonight. And, hate to have to say it, you kind of came out of nowhere. So what in the hell was going on out there? You were on rails, and really, I think just one little unfortunate bobble coming out of the pits that kept you probably from a real true shot at winning this race tonight.
Yeah, I was. So I'm here because I'm friends with Mark Nister. I'm part of his team with the marginally above average sim racers.
Okay.
We run out of PCA mainly, Porsche Club. I'm club rated there. Daytona is really my best track, so this is the only one I'd really be able to compete up front with. But it was a ton of fun. My spin out of the pits was actually because I forgot that I set the rear tires to be on before the race because I thought they'd be worse than they were because I usually slide the car a lot. But I forgot that, so I was pushing, and then the first corner out, I spun. So
okay.
I really think I could have fought for a win had I had that, but it was a lot of fun fighting at the end. It would have been my other teammate Robbie Prescott would have been with us there at the end, but there was a scary rejoin that almost killed him.
Yeah, and Robbie ended up with a 6th place run tonight. Well, it's great to have, we know Mark Nister very well. We love Mark. He's been a huge add to our community. He runs with us in the CMS Racing Endurance team, and now it all makes sense with you guys. Is Edward Nelson's not a part of your group, is he? Because he was in another Porsche, and you and him had a nice little battle there at the end for what we thought was maybe teammates racing, but we weren't sure about Edward. If y'all were teammates or enemies.
So he wasn't on our team, but he runs through the Porsche Club PCA, Porsche Club of America, the sim leagues.
Yep.
So I know him pretty well, and we sort of respected each other. So we kind of just pushed really hard, and I got lucky at the end.
Yeah, well, we know there's a lot of talent in the Porsche PCA sim racing group. We one of our own here for many years, Doug from SimHQ Motorsports and CMS. Is kind of the brains behind the PCA group, and love having you guys here. And it was great seeing the Porsches up front. Right, Ryan, I know you and I talked a lot about the Porsches up there, and I'm sure you've got a question or two for Scott here after this phenomenal run tonight.
Well, yeah. I mean, question one is, who are you and where did you come from? But I think we covered that. So, but no, you looked really great out there, and
thank you.
The Porsches at the start of the season, David, I think you'd agree, we were kind of wondering where are all the Porsches, but they certainly finished strong here.
Mark brought in 3 of us. This track's really good for the Porsche. I'd say it's probably one of the best, if not the best. It's scary through the bus stop, but it shines really on exits of corners. You can really floor the throttle, and then it just goes. And then so I was able to exit corners a lot better. And the top 2 at the beginning were Lambos, and I noticed they'd gain 3 or 4 tenths on me every time that we went through the bus stop. But through the infield, I could just get out better. And eventually, I just decided I'm going to send it down turn 1. I noticed they were doing a lot of fuel saving, lifting early, and I wanted to get my time on the broadcast. Hi, Mom.
Right.
Well, that's a good way to end it, right? Scott, well, we hope that this was the first of many opportunities to talk to you, and we hope to see you in more events. And there's a lot to offer here, and I'd love to see you and the guys get more involved with us and have some fun.
Thank you. One more person I have to thank is Nikki Chan from last 10th. He made the setup for our 24 run, our 24-hour, and it's really good. So if you want guides on YouTube, look him up.
Well, there you go. Yeah, he sounds like someone that anybody driving a Porsche needs to know that name, because we could tell you not only drove phenomenally, you definitely had a good piece underneath you.
Yeah, not to plug him too much, but I was running his setup. Mark Nister and Robbie Prescott, all in the top 6, were running that same setup.
There you go, and all 3 of you finished in the top 6.
Well, thank you so much for letting me come, and thanks for the interview. This was a ton of fun.
You're welcome. Have a good evening, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks, you too.
All right. Let's see if he's available, Ryan, maybe to wrap up the night. I was going to bring in our buddy Tim Collier and see if we can get Tim to talk for a few minutes with us. We'll see if he's there. Tim,
there he is.
Can you hear us, buddy?
I can hear you. Don't know if you want to hear me with the southern accent.
Well, Tim, we won't talk about your race tonight.
Yeah.
Well, we do have to ask one question. What in the hell happened there? We saw you go about 3 times through the infield, and we thought maybe did you get a game disqualification, or did you just say nope, it's not my night, and I gotta hang it, I gotta park it, right? Take the wheel off the desk.
No, what had happened was I was going side by side with someone into one, and I was waiting for crew chief to say clear. I'm looking over in VR, and I wasn't sure, and I caught the curb on the right in 2, and it got the car loose, and it just turned it straight right across the grass. And, nowadays, you're just sliding across the grass. You don't have a chance. But I had no idea it was going to go all the way across to the straightaway leading to turn 4. So I'm doing everything I can. I'm trying to put it in reverse and do everything else, and praying I don't take somebody out. And finally it comes to the stop, the cars go by, and I'm thinking, all right, now I need to start going back the other way and get back on where I came off.
Yeah.
So I start going that way, and it disqualifies me for going the wrong direction.
Yeah, that's what we thought happened. And the funny thing is it was monkey see, monkey do, because Larry Ford had an almost identical issue. And you guys were fairly close to each other on the track. Now Larry ended up he didn't get a disqualification and actually kind of drove a beautiful recovery race and finished in 18th position. But we were like, what in the heck are these two? What are these two guys of all guys doing here?
Yeah, it was, how it goes sometimes. My whole season's been this way. And I mean, everybody on Can-Am will tell you, I come into the race and I go, this is the night it's going to turn around. And then about 10 minutes in, I'm like, all right, I'm done.
Yeah, it just had.
But, sometimes it's like that, and that's fine. So, really looking forward to season 2, getting a fresh start here in the next few weeks when we kick everything off.
Yeah, well, that's let me let you and Ryan talk a little bit about season 2. That was the other thing why we wanted to talk to you tonight is, the 2 of you and many others, of course, but you guys are 2 of the big brains behind this whole thing, and just wanted to thank you both for what you're doing, and Ryan, maybe have you asked Tim a few questions about season 2 and what we can expect coming up after Daytona here.
Absolutely. So I think I already mentioned on the broadcast that we're just going to take the week 13 of iRacing off, and then we'll have the preseason starting on March 15th with the first full season race on the 22nd. And that's going to be at Sebring to start us off, and 75-minute race. Is that right, Tim?
That is correct. I think we start the year off with a long one. So fire up the coffee pots and get ready.
So I know that you and Liam were the real brains behind the schedule coming up for this season 2. So what can you tell me? Was there any theme? Was there kind of guiding principle that you guys followed?
Well, the interesting thing, Liam and I sat down to work out. Liam Park, by the way, and he and I sat down, and it sort of works this way. We both come up with a list, and then we kind of go kick back and forth. Hey, this one has a nice flow into this one. This one breaks up that flow. This is a perfect one for the endurance. And then obviously, I think we have 2 races in our season 2 that tie directly to the iRTES season schedule, so that we'll have 2 of their races in our schedule. But the other thing that we did is we have a spreadsheet that has a list of every track that's in iRacing, and we put the date that we last ran the track, so that we know that, we haven't even touched this track in a year and a half. So that kind of helps us make sure we're not, doing a Daytona road course every season, or as the case may be. So there's a little more method and less madness to it.
Yeah, that's great. It looks like a really good schedule. Well, we've been talking about it privately for a bit now, but it was just posted publicly yesterday, I think. So hopefully everybody's really looking forward to that, getting geared up. Any other changes this season that we're making that are worth talking about?
Yes, everybody but me has to start from the pits. No, but in all seriousness, we plan on keeping the same car lineup, but as iRacing sometimes does, they throw a surprise at you. So we're holding that close to our, holding the cards close to our chest right now, waiting to see if there's going to be a surprise, and if not, we'll stick with what's already working and don't change it. But if we do get a new GT3, then we'll have to have a discussion, and we'll see how that goes. I have not heard of anything. There's not even rumors of anything, but you just never know.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But, we feel like no matter what it is, it's going to be fun. And, Tim, I can't help but think, you and I and several others, we talked about Larry, guys like Chris Hudson, Ryan, even you, we've been at this a long time. Boy, it sure has, to think that we're putting these races on live for people to listen to, and we still have got 10 or 15 people out watching here with us, and pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I would have never thought that 24 years. So next year will be our 25-year anniversary of Champion Motorsports. So it's amazing to think that that's how far along we've come with this, starting with the NASCAR racing that we would do. And then, of course, we moved over to road racing, and we found our love for that was really strong. But I think along the way, it shows that we have people that have been here that long, because that's the kind of league we are. We don't want people to feel like they're being pushed aside for whatever reason. We want people to come in, be a part of this fun. And this season, we've been averaging close to 45 cars a race, which is amazing. I don't think we've ever done that in, well, I say never, but it's been a while if we have. And knowing that the success is shown by your participation just says a lot. I think we have 105 drivers registered right now.
Yeah, it's just amazing. And, I think it has been probably since, when Assetto Corsa Competition launched, and we had the partnership with SRO, where we were seeing some fields this size, and then back to the, Le Mans sports car mod that you and Mike Tyler and Kevin Cinnamon and all the guys were behind. We were seeing some pretty big fields. I remember a race of maybe 50 or so one time at Le Mans I was so proud of. But it's just fantastic to see the participation. And really, Ryan and I, Tim, talk a lot about that. We one of the things we've enjoyed as we've done these broadcasts these seasons is to talk about the guys like Scott Kessel, who we just talked to tonight for the first time. And, we don't know Scott. We're getting to know him. And then we also get the opportunity to talk about, Larry Ford or Paul Hamilton or Chris Hudson and some of these guys that have been at Mike Tyler, some of these guys that have been with us for 20 some odd years, right? Still out there mixing it up together, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the things too that I'm really when I'm in these races like tonight, we get a big grid of 46, and my first thought as I'm sitting there on the grid is that guy ahead of me. I've probably been sim racing since before that guy was born.
Yeah, don't get me started on that. These guys are, I tell you what, man, it is a tough crowd. We talked about Stephen Yanni tonight, who won the championship, and we had the opportunity to interview him a little bit ago, and we were like, he's not having the race he wants to. He's in 26th position. And we looked at his lap times, and he was like, man, he's running a hell of a race. There's just 25 guys ahead of him that are a little bit faster. So
and the competition level this season definitely ramped up, and but that's not a bad thing. It makes you want to drive harder, makes you want to push to get that much better.
Yeah, and we also talked about, Ryan, if you remember Warren McCrary, we knew nobody out there was having a bigger smile on their face than Warren, and he was pushing a couple of guys around him for a position, even in a battle with Chris Brunnemer of all people. So really cool to just see all the different skill levels, and I think that's what really does set CMS apart, is that everybody's welcome here,
Oh yeah, and you could pretty much see Warren, doing the happy dance inside his cockpit as he was going around up too.
Yeah, and for someone like Warren, he finished 31st tonight, which doesn't say a whole lot on the standings, but 31st out of 48 guys, and he turned a 46.4 lap time, and nobody had more fun than a driver like that out there tonight. So those are the guys that really kind of really truly matter, to make the community the fabric that it has. So well, Tim, thanks for coming by, talking to us. We're super excited about next season, and really hope you have a better season, and hope I'm able to get out there with you guys too, and we just can't wait to get it started.
Yeah, I definitely miss chasing that 78 Longhorn out there. So you gotta get out there. If you'll put a Dallas Cowboys sticker on the back, I'll be sure and hit the back of you a few times. So
Tim, I can't help but think, and earlier this year, I think it was at Red Bull Ring, there was somebody in a Jeff Gordon themed car ahead of you, and we knew that had to be killing you.
Yes, I watched that telecast because you specifically said you need to watch for the segment about Jeff Gordon, and you could not have been closer to reading my mind the whole time. I was like, I'm gonna punt that 24 right off the track.
I knew that's what you were thinking, and that's what makes this special. You don't remember whether you finished first or last in these races, but you remember the laughs, right, that we've all had. And there's been ups and downs over the years for all of us, but I think we've all kind of grown up together doing this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And David, you're one of the few people I've met in person, and I'm looking forward to meeting many more when I go to Road Atlanta in October. So this again is the community of people that I hang around with the most. The other people are the people I work with, and I don't like most of them. So this is my friendship and my community, and I want to do just like many of us, like Ryan and Pierre Robitaille and Liam Park. We want to make sure the community is taken care of.
Yeah, and that means the world to us. Well, we have to wrap up here. So Tim, thanks for coming by. We'll talk to you again soon, I'm sure. And Ryan, let's go ahead and start wrapping up the night here. Thanks to you. It was a fun season. Really enjoyed being in the booth with you, buddy.
Hey, likewise, man. It was this was a new thing for me, and I think for you as well. But look at us now. We've got at least 6-7 races in the bag here.
Yeah, and we I think we had fun. We both learned a lot. It was it was never a dull moment. and we still have a lot to learn. I'm sure we could get better at it, and we'll try to do just that when we have the opportunity to do a few more of these. So it was a lot of fun for sure.
Come see us in season 2, GT3 Boogaloo.
Yeah, and we'll go ahead and wrap up here tonight for David and Ryan. I'll just say a few things as we go off the air here. We want to thank all the drivers, I think, first and foremost. 48 drivers tonight and the over 100 that participated in the series. We also want to thank all of the members of Champion Motorsports as a whole, the broader community, for making all this possible. It's all of you that make everything happen, and we never ever take that for granted. So thanks to all the members. We also want to thank simrace247.com. They were our sponsor for this series. All of our race recaps that Ryan and Tim and the team work on are co-published in real time exclusively on cmsracing.com and simrace247.com. So give them a bookmark. Check them out. Support Darren and the folks over there. It's a great community. And as Ryan mentioned, we've got Season 2 starting up here imminently for this Wednesday night series. So we'll be excited to bring that to you. And then, of course, we could not be more excited about the iRacing Team Endurance Series kicking off officially this weekend at Daytona in what is just going to be absolutely phenomenal. All those races will be broadcast by Apex Sim Racing TV, a key partner of ours here at CMS, and sponsored by Penguin RC Simulation, simrace247.com, and several other key partners. So tune in with us on Sunday on our YouTube channel. We'll have tweets out with links as we get closer to that. And Ryan, I guess let's say goodnight to the few viewers we may have left, and until next time, really enjoyed the season finale here.
Same here. Good night, everybody.
Take care, guys. Good night. Okay. We are